Today I am going to start one poem, Father Returning Home by Dilip Chitre. This poem is described in the syllabus of HSC for compulsory English. So today we are going to study this poem. First of all, we will take information about writer or the poet of the poem. So let me go ahead. Dilip Chitre is a notable Indian poet, critic, painter, translator and filmmaker. So today's poet is having multi-talented personality. He is versatile person. He has written poems. He has translated numbers of works. He has worked as a filmmaker. He is a critic. So today we are going to study his poem, that is Father Returning Home. The poet Dilip Chitre was born on 17th September 1938. He was born on 17th September 1938, a very important bilingual writer. Chitre is a bilingual. Bi means two. Lingual means two languages. He is the speaker of two languages. He knows Marathi as well as he knows English. So he is the most important figure behind the Little Magazine movement of the 60s. During 1960s, one movement named Little Magazine movement came into existence, emerged during 1960s. He is the prominent figure who worked for this movement. He started Shabda with Arun Kolatkar and Ramesh Samarth. He worked for Shabd. He started Shabd magazine with Arun Kolatkar and Ramesh Samarth. His Ekun Kavita or collected poems were published in 1990s, 3 volumes. So his collected poems or Ekun Kavita, this anthology was published. So later his most famous translation is of the celebrated 17th century Marathi Bhakti poet Tukaram. So you know Saint Tukaram, his Abhangas. Dilip Chitre has translated the poems, Bhakti poem, that is Abhangas of Tukaram, into English. The name of that collection is Says Tukaram. This is one of the well-known work by Dilip Chitre. He has also translated Anubhavamrut by 12th century poet Jnaneshwar. So that very Bhakti, collection of Bhakti poems, very important anthology by Jnaneshwar. That anthology, that work has been translated into English by Dilip Chitre. He received the prestigious Sahitya Akademi Award both for poetry as well as for his well-known translation work Says Tukaram. So Dilip Chitre is a well-known personality. He has written numbers of poems. He translated numbers of works. But he has immense contribution in English as well as Marathi literature, and for his work, for his contribution, he has been awarded Sahitya Akademi Award for particularly for his poems and one of the translation work, that is Says Tukaram, that translated into English. So that is what all about Dilip Chitre. So let us have a glance on the introduction of today's poem, Father Returning Home. Father is coming to home. He is returning to home. This is the poem by Dilip Chitre. First of all, the introduction of this poem. This poem is autobiographical poem. Dilip Chitre's poem is autobiographical. It means that the image of father which is shown in the poem is very much, or the image is of his father. His father is reflected in the poem. The poet shows the loneliness and world-weariness of the old man in the modern society by depicting a picture of his own father returning home from work. So his father, when he comes back to home, he is coming back to home, and that very image is reflected, is focused in the present poem. The monotonousness, the loneliness of modern world is very much reflected in the said poem. The poem is expressive of the poet's feelings of his father at a later stage. So, poet's feelings towards his father is the important subject of the poem. He realized how neglected and uncared for his father was even after being the alone breadwinner for the family. His father was the only person who was earning for the family. Being alone, only earner, he was uncared. He was uncared, he was not taken into care, he was not considered in the family, and that is the very important aspect is reflected in the poem. He was neglected, he was uncared, nobody paid attention to him, and that is what the tragedy, the tragic thing I would say is reflected in the present poem. The poem has gone beyond its autobiographical significance. Though outwardly we think that the present poem is autobiographical, but it goes beyond autobiographical significance. It means that the very image of old man, the very image of old father is very much common in every house of India. The image of father, father has to suffer. Father is the center of family. Father is the chief of the family, but he has to suffer a lot. And that very image is reflected here in this poem. So this poem goes beyond autobiographical significance. Next slide. An account of any old man who does the hard work for his family but leads a monotonous life. Old man, that father works for family. He takes numbers of hard efforts. But even though he has to suffer, he suffers a lot. His life becomes monotonous during his older age. And that is here in the poem. The poem consists of two stanzas of 12 lines each. There are 24 lines in the poem, and these 24 lines are divided into two stanzas. It is written in free verse with no particular meter or rhyme scheme followed. The poem is written in free meter, without any rhyme scheme, without any rhythm. The lack of rhythm is symbolic of the poet's father's uncared for life. Poet's father is not caring for his life. He neglected his own life. He is earner, he is neglecting, he is not caring, and therefore that without poem is without rhyme. That is a symbol of that father's uncaring towards his life. The language is easy and simple, but full of symbolic expressions and poetic devices like similes are used. The language is very simple to understand. It's very easy one, but language, the poem is full of symbols. The poem is full of symbols, and one figure of speech is used in the poem. The important figure of speech, that is simile, is used in this poem. It is the first person narrative. The poem is in first person narrative, where the poet speaker narrates how his father returns home and what he does thereafter. There are two sections in the poem. The first section deals with how the father is coming by train to the home. And second section deals with when father comes back to home, what he does thereafter. These two sections, the poem is divided into two sections. So let us study the poem. So actual analysis of poem, line 1 to 3 and 1 to 3 I would say. The first line of the poem, my father travels on the late evening train. See, the very first line, my father, the poet's father is traveling on the late evening train. He is coming back by train. He worked for a whole day. He toiled again. He had taken numbers of efforts. Since from morning up to the late night, he has been working. After completion of work, he is coming back. He is coming back. My father travels on the late evening train, standing among the silent commuters in the yellow light. Commuters means travelers, co-travelers. He is standing among the co-travelers. There are other travelers in the train. He is standing there with them. And in the yellow light, the light which is there in the railway compartment is yellow one. The total atmosphere is clumsy or gloomy one. My father travels on the late evening train. Late evening train means late evening because it shows that his father works hard. His father toils hard. Late. For whole day he is working for his family. Standing among silent commuters. Silent commuters. Silent commuter means other travelers are silent. They are not speaking. They are not interested to communicate. They are not interested to converse. See, in the yellow light, the light which is there in the compartment is yellow. Suburbs slide past his unseeing eyes. Suburb म्हणजे उपनगर, आजूबाजूचा भाग. Suburb slide past. Suburb is sliding past the train. When the train is moving, the suburb is sliding past. And his unseeing eyes, he doesn't want to see that scenario. He doesn't want to have a glance on that suburb because this is a routine for him. He always see that area. He always see that suburbs. So suburbs are sliding. It doesn't matter for him. It is not interested. That is his daily routine. So father's traveling to home is the important thing. Father is traveling to home. That is the picture. That is the thing which is shown here in this slide. Late evening train may indicate how long the father works. Father works for long hours, long days, daily work for long hours, long day, long period. He is suffering during journey. He is standing there. After completion of that day's work, he is traveling back to home. But what is the position of father? He is standing. Standing indicates that here he is suffering a lot. He cannot sit in the seat. He cannot sit in the chair. He doesn't have that seat to relax. So here again he is suffering. But another one problem is silent commuters. Silent commuters are not friendly enough to converse. Other travelers are not friendly. It reflects agony and suffering or monotonousness of journey. The journey becomes monotonous. The journey gives suffering to his father. He is suffering a lot. Standing without conversation and late evening he is coming back. Yellow light does not promote any cheerfulness. That light which is there, that yellow light, it is not cheerful. In total, the whole scene is monotonous. The whole atmosphere is gloomy. And the suburbs are sliding past the moving train. Suburbs are sliding past the moving train. He is unmoved by these scenes. Unseeing eyes means that he is not interested in seeing these suburbs which are passing there along with the train. He is not interested in watching those suburbs. This is the line number 1, 2, 3. Next. His shirt and pants are soggy. Father's shirt and pants are soggy and his black raincoat. He has wore black raincoat on his body stained with mud and his back stuffed with books. The very image, the father. See, his shirt and pants are soggy. That it was a rainy day. It was raining there. And therefore, due to raining, his shirt and pants, his dresses are all wet with rainwater. His dresses all are wet with rainwater. He was struggling to handle the bag full of books. See, standing with mud and his bag stuffed with books. There is a bag with him and that bag is full of books. There is mud on his raincoat, black raincoat. His shirt and pants are soggy. They are getting wet. They all are wet. So that is the condition. During rainy season, how he is traveling? He is facing difficulties to coming back. So the difficulties poet's father has to face during his journey. Those difficulties are here. The poet has stated in these lines. In falling apart, his bag stuffed with books is falling apart. The bag which is full of books is falling apart. His eyes dimmed by age. His eyes are getting dimmed. Means that he is aged now. He is an old man. So his eyes are getting dim. Fade homeward through the humid monsoon night. He is running towards home. He is coming back to home with the humid monsoon night. Through humid monsoon night. Monsoon means rainy season. And humid means humidity. There is humidity in the atmosphere. Rain is there, raining is there. And therefore, by facing all these difficulties, the father is traveling to the home. As early as possible, he wants to go to home. Here, his bag full of books hints that he was an educated and scholarly man. There are books in his bag. It means that he is a scholarly man. The father looks homeward with the low vision through the humid monsoon night. His vision is low, getting low because he is an old man. He is an aged man. He cannot see clearly. His vision is very low, and with that vision, he is walking to his home with or through the humid monsoon night. Night is there. So, for too late, he is working. He is working for too late. The atmosphere is gloomy. In first 3 lines and these 4 lines. What is the atmosphere in the poem? The atmosphere is very clumsy, very gloomy. Rainy season, yellow light, muddy raincoat, soggy dresses. This expression, what expression? This expression show that the atmosphere is very clumsy and gloomy. Here, another one thing I would like to refer or explain, black raincoat. Here, black raincoat is indication of the difficulties faced by his father, his colorless life. Black raincoat indicates the father's colorless life. This is all about this. These 4 lines. The next line. How I can see him getting off the train. Sorry. Now I can see him getting off the train. Now train has reached at its destination. He wants to get off the train. Get off. He wants to come down from the train. He is getting down. Now I can see him. The poet is seeing him getting off the train. Numbers of compartments are attached. The train is very lengthy. And from one of the compartments, the father is getting down. At that time, that scene is very important because in these 2 lines, the one figure of speech that is simile is used here. Like a word dropped from a long sentence. Like. The word is very important. Like means here simile is used. The poet has used simile. Now I can see him getting off the train. He is getting off the train like a word dropped from a long sentence. There are sentences in English. There are sentences in English. In sentence, there are numbers of words. If we drop one word from the sentence, what happens? The meaning changes. But there are certain words in sentences or in sentence, after dropping a single word, it can't change its meaning. Here, the poet's father's condition or the place is like so. His existence doesn't matter for other travelers. Whether it's getting down or not, it doesn't matter for others. The poet's father's existence doesn't matter for other travelers. Therefore, here the train is getting off the train and dropping from a long sentence, a word dropping from the long sentence, 2 things have been compared here. Dropping a word from a sentence is compared with getting off the train. Very meaningful simile the poet has used here. So, this is only one figure of speech used in this poem. So, try to understand. Now I can see him getting off the train. He is getting off the train like a word dropped from a long sentences. The poet indicates how unimportant his father is to the crowd. He is not important to the crowd. The father is not important to the crowd in the train. He does not really make any difference whether he got down or not. Whether he is getting down or not, doesn't matter. His existence is meaningless for others. It is like a word which is dropped from long sentences, which doesn't matter, which doesn't affect on the meaning of the sentence. So his existence is meaningless. His existence is not important for others. So place of the father in Indian society, the place of the father in Indian family is very trivial, which has no importance. He hurries across the length of the grey platform. He hurries. He is in haste. He is hurrying towards the home, the length of the grey platform. So, as soon as possible, he wants to reach at his home. मला लवकरात लवकर नंतर पोहोचायचं. So he crossed what? The grey platform, crosses the railway line. He has crossed grey platform. He has crossed the railway line, enters the lane. Now he has entered in his own lane. After crossing all these difficulties, he reached at his lane. His chappals are sticky with mud. His chappals are sticky with mud, but he hurries onward. Nobody can stop him. Nobody could stop him. His chappals are full of mud. He is in a hurry. He is in haste. Because nobody is there in that train to care for him. Nobody cares for him. Nobody think about him. He wants to go, he wants to reach at his destination. So, he hurries across the length of the grey platform, crosses the railway line, enters the lane. His chappals are sticky with mud, but he hurries onward. These three lines, very important. The word hurries for twice. Hurries and hurries. Twice the word is used for twice. It indicates that, what it indicates? Twice, to bring in a sense of escapism from the dull, humid atmosphere. He wants to escape from that dull, humid atmosphere which is there in the railway compartment. Dull and humid atmosphere. He wants to cross grey platform, muddy street where no one would care for him. In compartment, nobody cared. On platform, nobody cared. So he wants somebody to care for him. Now he thinks that my members, my family members, very close to me, they are very close to me, they will care for me. As soon as possible, I have to go at my home so that I will get their love. And so, he is in search for that love. He is going to home. He just wants to have some solace at his own home. He thinks that he will get peace at his home. He will get solace to his mind at his home only. Because on that platform, in this train, nobody is there to think about me. Nobody. All are unknown. They are not acquainted with me. Nobody is here to understand me. Nobody is here to care for me. Therefore, definitely, if I go to home, I will get that kind of consideration. And therefore, he is in hurry to reach at home. Next. Home again. I see him drinking weak tea. Now he has reached. The second part of the poem starts here. Up to now, his journey, his train journey, he is coming from his birthplace to his home. That journey is shown here in the first. Home again, I see him drinking weak tea. When he reached at home, he has to drink a weak tea. stale chapati. He is eating a stale chapati, not fresh chapati, reading a book. So monotonous life again starts here in the home itself, at the home itself. Here also he gets the same atmosphere. Here also he faced the same difficulty at home. Home again I see him drinking weak tea, eating a stale chapati, reading a book. He is reading a book while drinking a tea. He eats a stale chapati at home. So what is the condition of that father at home also? At workplace, that is different. While coming from workplace to home, he has to face difficulties. Now at home, he has to again face difficulties. So what is the miserable condition of that father, that old man, which is very much reflected in the lines of the Quran. He goes into the toilet to contemplate. So here, the poet depicts the isolation of his father in his own home. In home, at home, nobody is here to care for. His children don't ask him. They don't take care of him. Again, his isolation at home is very important problem. The poet hints at how nobody cares for him even at home. Nobody cares for him at home also. Nobody cares for him at the train also, at compartment also, at workplace also. So nobody is there to care for. Given up expecting from family members. He has given up expectations. He doesn't expect from family members. His hope is diminished as he reaches and finds the same indifference. There are like railway compartment. The indifference was shown in railway compartment. I reached at home. Again the same indifference is there. So he diminished his hope. Previously he was having hope that I could go at home. I could get some love. I could get some consideration at home. But all hopes diminished because the same atmosphere, the same treatment is given at home. Nobody asked him, nobody cared for him. The toilet, very important thing. He goes into the toilet to contemplate, very simple line. He goes into the toilet to contemplate, to meditate, to think about himself. He wants to overcome his loneliness. Because at a compartment I was lonely, at house I am lonely, where to go, what to do, that is the question. Now he goes into the toilet to contemplate man's estrangement from a man-made world. What is the condition of the father? Very nice line. He goes into the toilet to contemplate. The toilet is a symbol of small world, his small world. The toilet is the only small world for that man where he can go there, he can contemplate there, he can think on it, he can overcome his loneliness. And that is the only place, the toilet. He goes there, he thinks over it, he contemplates. The toilet seems to be the only place the man has to go to contemplate over his loneliness. That is the only place he can get that solace of mind. That is the only place he can get that peace. So, nobody is there to care for him. He is searching for peace. He is searching for that solace. Next. Coming out, he trembles at the sink. When he comes out from the toilet, he wants to wash the hands. But what happened? Coming out, he trembles at the sink. He reached at the sink, that sink. He wants to wash the hands. But what happened? He is trembling. His trembling indicates that he is of old age. His trembling indicates that the water is very cold. Water is very cold. And there might be one thing I would like to explain. He might be fearing. He has certain fear in the mind. The fear of his isolation. He might have fear for his isolation. Since morning up to the night, for whole day, I am toiling, I am working, I am earning, I am suffering, but not a single person asked me, not a single person had shown me consideration, and that is my agony, that is my suffering. And therefore, when he comes out from the toilet, he wants to wash his hands. He started trembling at the sink. The cold water running over his brown hands. Cold water running over his brown hands. A few droplets cling to the graying hairs on his wrist. Some droplets clinging over his wrists. A few droplets cling to the graying hair on his wrist. Some droplets are still sticked up to his wrist on graying hair. There are two important symbols I would like to explain. First is droplet. Droplet means water. And graying hair means the color is changed of hair. So, droplet stands for life and graying hair stands for oldness or old person. Gray hair indicates the age of the person and droplet indicates the life of the person. The old man's life is just holding on to old age. This line indicates that the old man's life is just holding on to his old age. He has no significance of this life has no significance of anyone else. His life is not important for others. It has no any significance. He is living, he is about to die. Nobody cares for him. Next. This is the last stanza of the poem, last lines of the poem, I would say, not stanza. His Sulain children, Sulain means nervous, somewhat nervous. They are not ready to speak with him, therefore they are Sulain children. His Sulain children have often refused to share jokes and secrets with him. His children don't want to share jokes and secrets with him. They have shown indifference. They don't like their old father. They don't want the association of their father. He will now go to sleep. So first of all, here the relationship between the family. The father's relationship with his children. Children are not asking for him. They are not showing any consideration. They don't want to share anything with their father. They don't want to share their jokes and their secrets with their father. So here again, he faced the indifference. Here again, he faced the problem. He faced the difficulty. He is lacking the consideration. He is lacking that emotions and love. The old man's relationship with the family members are very much shown in the line, unwanted burden and outdated image of father. The father is unwanted burden for children. It is very much found in the Indian society nowadays. Father toils, father works, father stands, father makes children stand, but children, in the compensation, what children do? They don't care for their father. And that is very important problem of Indian society, which is reflected in this line. Trying to find some solace, peace in thinking about his past. So, the next line, let me go ahead. He will now go to sleep. Now he got tired. Now he wants to sleep. He wanted to go to bed while sleeping. Now he will now go to sleep listening to the static on the radio. He comes. Now whatever things he has completed, he has done all it. And now he wanted to go to bed. While going to bed, while he is listening to static on the radio. Static means the noise made by radio. Unclear, unaudible voice is there in the radio. That voice, noise is there on the radio. So by listening that old radio, he wanted to go to bed. And he goes there. When he slept, he is dreaming. Dreaming of his ancestors. At present, everything is negative. The atmosphere is very filthy. Everybody has shown indifference. Nobody is there to care. So he doesn't want to live in present. Instead of that, I would live in past or I would live in future. That is what he is thinking. So he went in the past. He is dreaming of his ancestors. Ancestors म्हणजे पूर्वज. आताची मुलं काही आपल्याला बघणार नाही आहेत, आपला विचार करणार नाही आहेत. आताच्या पूर्ण कंडिशन ज्या आहेत त्या अतिशय विचित्र अशा आहेत. कुणीही आपली काळजी घेत नाही, कुणीही विचारत नाही आहे. आणि त्यामुळं आताचा प्रेझेंट हा माझ्यासाठी योग्य नाही आहे. म्हणून माझ्याकडे दोन काळ माझ्याकडे आहेत. एक तर पास्टमध्ये मी जाऊ शकतोय किंवा फ्युचरमध्ये जाऊ शकतोय. So he is thinking, he is dreaming of his ancestors and grandchildren. Ancestors means past and grandchildren means future. He is thinking, he is dreaming about ancestors, he is dreaming about grandchildren, thinking of nomads entering a subcontinent through a narrow pass. See, very important image, that is nomads. Nomads means Aryan people. For the first time, when Aryan came into India, Aryans came into India. From that moment to up to now, the society is changed. What happened when Aryans first came to that subcontinent, to this place? How was the society and what happened now? In past days, what was there? Love was there, consideration was there in the family members, in relationship. But now, all is in vain. All has been gone. All is gone now. And therefore, he is thinking that how was the society in the past and how is the society now? No importance, no any scope for relationship nowadays. Society is changed. No any consideration is there in the society. So, attempt to escape from his mundane life. He doesn't want to live that present life. Mundane means day-to-day life. He doesn't want to live in that gloomy and indifferent life. He wants to escape from that. He wants to go in past. He wants to go in future. He is thinking about ancestors. He is thinking about his grandchildren. He is thinking about the society when Aryan nomads entered at the subcontinent. Means Aryans first came in India, and from that moment how the society is changing day by day. And that is what he doesn't want to stick up with the present. He prefers to live in past or to live in future. Here the poem ends. Next. So, line by line, I have explained each and everything to you, whatever is there in the poem. So let me go ahead. The major themes of the poem: alienation, the generation gap, isolation, old age in a modern society, cultural identity, rootlessness, and the future of the individual in the city. These are certain concerns of the poet. These are certain themes of the poem. The modern man is alienated. He is totally aloof. He is totally separated. The generation gap is very much found in the society, in our family. Our grandparents, our father, and we. There are three generations in a family, but there is a gap in between these three generations. That gap is found in the society, in the family. Isolation. Man is isolated. We are in society. We live in society, but though we are surrounded by people, by mind we are isolated. We are not there. By mind we are not at that place. So isolation, alienation, generation gap. These are the important factors, aspects of postmodern Indian society, and that is very much important, reflected in this poem. Old age in a modern society. No scope for old age in modern society. The care is not taken of their fathers and mothers in modern society. Cultural identity is lost, rootlessness is found, and the future of individual is problematic in the society. These are certain aspects of the poem here I have explained. So students, I tried my level best to make you understand this poem. I have gone through all the lines. I tried my best to explain you. So go through this video, and if you like this video, like it, subscribe it, and share it. Thank you.